I'm gonna tell you something, Flacca, and I want you to listen tight. It may sound like I'm talking about me, but I'm not. I'm talking about you. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about all people everywhere. When I come down here to Texas, I was looking for something. I didn't know what. But it seems like you added up my life, and I'd spent it all either stomping other men or, in some cases, getting stomped. Had me some money and had me some medals. But none of it seemed a lifetime worth the pain of the mother that bore me. It was like I was empty. Well, I'm not empty anymore. That's what's important. To feel useful in this old world. To hit a lick against what's wrong, or to say a word for what's right, even though you get walloped for saying that word. Now, I may sound like a Bible beater yelling up a revival at a river crossing camp meeting, but that don't change the truth none. There's right and there's wrong. You gotta do one or the other. You do the one and you're living. You do the other and you may be walking around, but you're dead as a beaver hat.
I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
So, dude, I just poured Steve some matcha tea. It doesn't matter how you make it. It's literally the most amazing fucking tea, like, period.
I've had iced matcha before.
It's just,
good.
So it's the only, apparently it's the only like tea leaf, tea, whatever, blend. I don't know. I don't know much about tea, I'll be honest. So it's like, it's green tea, matcha green tea. I don't know if it's a specific type of green tea or if it's the type of leaf and the way they harvest it and the way they pick it. But like matcha tea versus like brewed green tea is well, apparently according to the bag, 137 times better as far as antioxidant production. But what I will say is I've tried some before, but then I was listening to Dr. Weil, I don't really know how to say his name, on Joe Rogan. If you're any sort of like a fitness or health buff, Dr. Will's amazing because he's like a Western medicine doctor, like MD, like legit MD. And he started, I think, the first medical school that actually is like a Western, like a legit MD Western medical school that also integrates like holistic type stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so he was talking about matcha tea on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I was like, well, you know what? I got to retry some of this stuff. So I got some like high quality matcha tea, drank some this morning. I was like, wow, bam. It was like the best caffeine high ever, but with no like jitteries or no like ADD kind of feeling, and then no crash.
I've had matcha before, and like I usually have matcha at my favorite coffee shop down here, and usually it's sweet. I mean, they make all their drinks kind of on the sweeter side. If you know, that's just kind of what they do. And it's good. I mean, it looks like green tea, but just obviously a more different kind. I mean, like a stronger version of green tea. What was that? We used to do something. I used to work at a coffee shop. I know, name drop. And I remember we used to brew something that would like look like hamster food or hamster kind of hay. What the heck was it? Yerba mate.
Yerba mate.
That was it.
Yerba mate is also good.
No, yerba mate apparently has a lot of caffeine.
Yerba mate is legit.
I would look at it and I would be like, what the heck is this? And it looked like, whatchamacallit? It looked like hamster hay or whatever,
Yerba mate kind of does look like hamster food.
And you would open it up and you would smell it and you'd be like, this is hamster hay. But then, I mean, ideally, like, it was so, not noxious or anything like that, but it was just, you could tell that it was definitely going to keep you up, or there was something in it that made it more caffeinated. I don't know.
I had matcha Kit Kats from Japan.
That's weird as fuck, dude.
Was it just green?
Yeah, they were green.
I remember one time, the first time I got introduced to yerba mate was, JB, do you remember Stefano?
No.
From the fraternity?
No.
His parents owned a fairly well-known Italian restaurant in San Diego. Anyways, good dude.
Was it called Bernetto's?
No, it was not.
Was it called Stefano's?
No, it wasn't.
These are all just kind of fun.
Anyway, I haven't talked to him in a while, so I'm not trying to blow his spot up. But yeah, Stefano.
Is it called pepperoni?
It was fucking called Mona Lisa, dude. Anyways, fuck you guys. I hate you guys.
I've been
So
in that place before.
he introduced me to yerba mate, and I was like, I was a dumb little kid. I was probably 21. I was in college, whatever. And I drank some, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Girl, wee.
And I remember running outside, like into the parking lot of the fraternity house, screaming the sentence, "Oh my God, I found my favorite new drug." And as I ran through the open door into the parking lot, there was like, I don't remember, I think it was like a bunch of like old ass alumni in like suits and stuff, like here to see the fraternity house, like, like professional fancy people. And I just stopped my tracks, and like, I heard that the whole like rewind, like tape rewind noise in my head, like, like, whoa. And they're looking at me, and I'm just looking down and like, no, it's just tea, guys. I'm talking about
coffee. You really had that much of a reaction or a positive experience from?
I did. My first time I ever had yerba mate tea. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing that I said some stupid shit and ran outside the door, and then ran into a bunch of people like fancy professional, whatever, well-to-do people in suits who were looking at me like I was a fucking crazy person, wondering what the hell I was talking about. And I was like, no, guys,
they were like college.
I don't know what, huh? It's just tea, literally just fucking tea, guys. Don't know what you're talking about. I gotta go, and then I did like the Peter Griffin, like sort of like backpedal into the bush kind of thing.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah,
I will tell you that there is when I go down to Miami or any Cuban restaurant, but usually it was always in Miami.
Cuban food's amazing.
Cuban food is amazing,
underrated.
But it's not even rated on the thing. I swear,
that's
people
actually
don't
true.
Eat it.
It can't be
People don't eat it
underrated because
enough.
it's not even rated.
People need to eat it more. People need to go find it. If you're a JB, if you want to go into business opening a Cuban food restaurant in Nashville, we will do it. It will be Tim and Don Stevens, Versailles.
Platanos and Cuban sandwiches.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is amazing food. Fried pork and onions, and
it's like mustard and ham and pickles on a sandwich.
But then
and plantains
and Cuban coffee. Oh my gosh,
Cuban coffee's delicious.
Yeah, but they have this one drink down there. Okay, it is called Materva, Materva. If you ever see it, it is in a very, very marigold.
I had a Materva once.
You had a Materva once. I like it. It's made with real sugar. At least the ones I drank were made with real sugar, not the diet ones.
I think it has to be real sugar, dude.
Well, I mean, it's made in Cuba, along with Iron Beer, Iron Fist, or something like that. But short of the long is that it is very good. I would just buy cases of it when I was down in Miami. People were like, "Oh, you want a drink?" Like expecting me to say like, "Oh, rum," or some type of kind of tropical drink, and I'd be always just like, "Madeira, please," and I would just drink it by the caseload. It's delicious. It's yerba mate soda. Did I not mention that? That's the connection here.
No,
soda.
but that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it is.
You know what else? The Starbucks refreshers.
I don't think I've had those.
So I've had one or two.
What are they like just like flavored
It's like the tall boy can. We were I was working in New York. We had a show at the Yahoo offices.
You're a fucking Yahoo.
And they had like it's like a lot of these corporations and stuff like that. You walk in and they have like fridges full of everything you could drink. So me and a buddy of mine, we'd been up since like 2 or 3 that morning doing a bunch of stuff, and we were like crashing. It's probably 3 PM, and we're like, I didn't know how yerba mate was going to affect me and how caffeinated it was. So we're sitting in this little green room area, and we're both kind of chugging this yerba mate. The refreshers.
Is that what's in the refreshers? Yerba mate?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
sense. So we get done, and
it's like a caffeinated Italian
we
soda,
both
Steve.
dropped the can at the same time.
Refreshers?
And we're like, "You want to wrestle?" So we like basically jump up, and it looked like a National Geographic where like the 2 rams heads come together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we flew across the room, and literally just like it randomly. I don't know.
People at Yahoo were just like, what's going on over
there? It
there?
was like steroids.
Based on your story and my story, apparently yerba mate just makes you insane.
I don't think it's not as clean of as caffeine high as the old matcha.
No, I think it's more meth-like.
Yeah.
Based on our stories. Although I've had yerba mate since then, and maybe back then, because it was new, it was like unregulated, and it was like in pure form and super strong, and now it's just
now they cut it with baby laxative.
Maybe it's just watered down and just shitty. And
there's a yerba
on
mate
a bunch of times.
Dude, there's a matcha bar on University out here in San Diego.
But here's the thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've had matcha before.
Okay.
And I noticed nothing special.
Gotcha.
This time I went for some very like
Kyoto Do matcha.
I went for some very like Japanese originated because that's where matcha comes from. Like
It's probably
organic,
made in like
I thought it
Portland.
came from,
like
South
sourced.
America.
I'm just saying, dude. I went for some high quality shit. I don't
Alright.
care where it's made. I don't care
Doesn't
how
look
it's
high quality
made.
bagging.
I went for I didn't spend a whole lot of time, but I spent more than usual looking at the quality of what I was getting. And this time I noticed a huge difference. But nothing like I didn't have the inclination to run into the parking lot and say some stupid shit, nor did I have the inclination to, lock horns with a buddy of mine like a fucking wild mountain goat. So I think more clean, more
Japanese.
nice, normal. Yes.
Okay, so Kyoto Do, that's what you got.
That is what I
Kyoto
got. Kyoto Dew.
It's
It's like Kyoto Dew is just Japanese Mountain Dew, basically. That's
It's like, that's basically like, do the do.
it would be really. I'm not even gonna take the time to look this up, but it'd be really funny.
That's
if
what they
Kyoto was
put in
for
Japanese Mountain Dew is matcha.
Maybe I don't know. Mountain Dew is that funny green color, and when you put this matcha in water, it makes it look like swamp water. Steve can attest to that because he's drinking it right
No,
now.
it looks
Swamp
good.
butter.
It looks like if the Incredible Hulk just kind of melted down here a little bit.
Looks like the Incredible Hulk. Like,
Ooh, green tea chocolate bars. That looks
Hey
good.
guys, it's Project Reclamation. When you're starting a podcast with two of your other friends and you guys need that late night kick, go ahead and drink some sweet Kyoto Dew matcha. Brought to you
Go
by
ahead and snort some
this
Kyoto
episode
Dew
brought to you
matcha.
by Kyoto Dew Matcha.
Hi!
By the way, Kyoto Dew, if you want to sponsor us,
It's the best.
This spot's open. Just saying.
Kyoto Dew is the best. Hi! Man. Hey guys. It's us, the guys from Project Reclamation. Man. Oh, when I'm hard at work and doing my long hours.
I do matcha.
I just put half a teaspoon of Kyoto Dew
matcha pichu?
organic matcha tea in my water.
Culinary grade green tea
I just
powder.
mix it up until it looks like I dip my water bottle into a swamp, and I
Hey,
drink that
Tim,
swamp.
did you get your $2 off on your Kyoto matcha?
I did.
There's a coupon on there.
I did. Yeah.
Wait, can you use this for smoothies?
You totally can.
What about lattes?
You can use it for donuts.
What about for baking?
Oh my God, baking
Yeah.
and smoothies and
Is it a
lattes.
natural
Oh
energy
my
boost?
god.
And it's a natural energy boost.
Is it a metabolism boost?
Oh my God,
Does it
yes.
have antioxidants?
It does.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's interesting, and this is...
What if you like oxidants though?
Well, I like the
you want those
antioxidants.
free radicals.
I thought this was interesting, though. I don't know what EGCG is, and I'm not going to look it up because
I
I'm
think it's a
fucking lazy.
dance club. In,
I was just gonna say, isn't that a club in New York?
It is, actually. Or it's some sort of a... I don't know. But apparently drinking matcha gives you 137 times more EGCG, a powerful antioxidant, than brewed green tea. All I'm saying, dude, is I learned a lot about matcha listening to Dr. Weil. I think it's Weil. Maybe it's Wheel. Not really sure. He was on the...
Vile. Maybe
He was
it
on
could be
JRE,
German.
our friend, Joe Rogan Experience
It's the
podcast.
Germans.
If you're into experiencing some sort of balance between Western and Eastern medicine, Dr. Wheel or Weil is a good guy to look up, and his spot on the Joe Rogan podcast was pretty good. But he talks about matcha tea, so that kind of got me reinterested in it. So that's why I bought some.
Nice.
And I will say I'm not disappointed. But make sure you get some quality shit, because apparently there's a lot of shit matcha tea out there. That's all I'm saying. It is what it is.
Man.
So how did you know that this is quality?
I don't know,
just
dude.
asking.
I took a fucking gamble. But
Okay.
what I'm
I
saying
wasn't
is
trying to call you out.
I spent the whole 90 seconds looking at ratings and reading reviews, which is 90 seconds more than I generally spend looking at ratings.
That's a perfectly good answer to my question. I wasn't trying to make sure tell you that this was bad. I just didn't know how you justified the quality.
I decided to spend, like I said, about 90 seconds looking into the quality and buying something that was not complete shit. That's kind of that's all I was looking for. That was my bar. That being said, I think I was still I was expecting mediocre disappointment.
And you have zero disappointment.
Quite the contrary.
Dude, I feel great. I gave my buddy Jeremy some today.
All right.
He felt great right after drinking it.
You were
Then an
just
hour
in love
later,
with this matcha.
he called me and told me he wanted the fucking link so he could order some.
Contains
Now
crack
I'm giving you
cocaine.
some. Wait, hold on. My sister, Shannon, came over earlier, And I was like, so, you going to go to work tomorrow? Yeah. Were you working out tonight? Yeah. Okay, well, you should drink this tonight or tomorrow. Best pre-workout ever. So I gave Shannon some. I'm waiting for her, review. But Jeremy loved it. I gave, I told my dad about it, told Casey about it, sent them some links. And now I'm giving you some, Steve. And I think by the end of the show, you'll be like, hey, this is some good shit.
I'm all about good shit. Hey,
matcha.
Yeah, but see, that's more like, that's how I feel in Bulletproof Coffee.
Really?
Hey, oh my God, I got something to talk about. But I'm so wired, I forgot what I was going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about something else because I'm so wired that I have ADD. Oh my God. No, that's like me on Bulletproof Coffee. But this is more like, hey man, I'm so chill, but I'm so energized. I'm not trying to oversell it. And that's all I'm going to end up all I'm going to end up doing.
Chillergized.
All I'm going to end up doing is overselling it. So I'm going to stop talking about it.
Hey man, no joke.
I think you buy some high quality matcha. It's good shit. Apparently this Kyoto Dew, I like it. Tim likes it. Jeremy likes it. Wow. That's as far as I can go for now.
They look like they have a little matcha piece of cake on the background.
They do have a matcha cake. I think that's kind of weird.
There was matcha waffles in there.
Maybe I do know. Don't know.
Matcha waffles.
I have to wonder though, like this beautiful powder, which is literally it's one of the only teas where they take the whole leaf, they dry it, they powder it. So you're not seeping it through a tea bag. You're literally just dumping the powdered shit into your whatever. I wonder because when you cook anything, when you mix it into a mix and then bake it into something, it sort of changes things, right?
Probably.
So I'm just wondering, like, I kind of prefer this, and I'm just going to keep drinking it in its pure form. Literally mixing the shit with water. That's it. Maybe
I wonder if heating it up in water, like heating it up in tea water, like if that would expand its frazzling. Amazing.
Well, then you just raise a good point there. I'm wondering if mixing in some fucking Kerrygold grass-fed butter and some coconut oil into my coffee makes that caffeine and coffee work better. What if I made bulletproof matcha tea?
Yeah, because it's like you're digesting fats.
Only one way to find out.
I'm gonna have to try that tomorrow.
Wow. I have a feeling tonight after we leave, after this podcast record, Tim is just going to go into his laboratory, aka the kitchen. And then he's just going to stay up for 72 hours straight, just being wired on matcha. He's going to Amazon
some old college all-nighters.
Yeah.
Steve's going to pretend to leave, and then he's going to come back, and he's just going to find me He's going to find me like snorting lines of matcha.
You got the stuff? You got the stuff, buddy?
Like, what's going on, buddy? I didn't know you were. I thought you were gone.
How's it going?
By the way, no matcha nor Kyoto Dew has sponsored this podcast at all. This is purely from my experience that I'm saying this shit's awesome. And we spent a whole 16 minutes talking about it. So,
brought to you by Passages, the 12-step Malibu program for detox.
They offer a matcha program.
I know.
Yes, a matcha recovery program.
Brought to you by Passages Malibu. Oh, man. Thanks, Passages.
So, Steve.
Machismo.
I know.
I don't have any questions for you, Steve.
Hi, man. But you know who does have questions?
Do you?
Do I have questions? Do I? From Kelsey. I'm glad you guys always segue me into this because sometimes I just don't know how to best tie this in. But from Kelsey in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh,
I know.
Hey.
This is kind of a good one.
Bright light city gonna set my soul on fire.
Oh, man.
Kelsey.
Kelsey says, hey, guys, great records. Honestly, it was nice to know or get to know Tim on his special journey. Please keep it going.
I had a lot of fun on that one.
Oh, good. I mean, Kelsey's enthusiastic about it. And like I said, my friend Kenny had so many questions.
I think we need to recreate that with
that
two of you and find some deep dives into your fucking psyches. It's going to happen, dude.
Well, I hope so.
Dude, I would love to interview Steve.
Oh my God.
JB interviewed JB one-on-one with Steven. Welcome to the danger zone.
I'm just gonna sit back and I'm gonna turn my mic off and just sit back and listen to that shit.
But Kelsey says, great record, one-on-one. I was loved listening to it. Do you have any reflections, Tim, on anything that you have said during that record? Did you have anything that you might have extra for somebody that is still struggling with their weight now?
That's a good question. I don't know. I got to be honest, man. I re-listened to that episode, and I think I don't think I held back.
Oh, okay.
I laid it all out there.
Well, bro, look at this.
But I talked about myself, and I think that was the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't, and I think you kind of actually put this into words, Steve, that you're like it's almost like you maybe want me to pretend I'm some sort of an expert or that I have advice for people.
Oh,
but that's never really been my thing. Like, and it's not that it was more that you're like, well, you have stuff to say, but you're never going to admit that you're an expert. And I don't think I am. Well, but what I will say is
you're the most expert person
through my experience. What I've found, Kelsey, is if there's something you want to do and you have a way that you want to do it, and if you don't have that way, but maybe you have some options, talk it out. Talk it out to people that you care about. Talk it out with people who talk it out with people whose opinions you value. But at the end of the day, when you decide, and maybe it's a gut thing, I mean, there's millions of people who operate on faith every fucking day. So put some research into it. But then when that feeling hits you, like, hey, you know what? This is what I want to do. And I think this is how I want to do it. Run it by some people. Maybe run it by a medical professional. Make sure it's not a dumb decision. But once you decide it's not, then just do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe not everyone's going to understand why you're doing what you're doing at first. But if you truly believe in your heart and soul that that is what you need to do, then you do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? The people who truly care about you, they will get on board. And they'll support you. At the end of the day, if there's something that you're unhappy about and you're wondering if you should make a change, but you think you should, then do it. If there's something you want to do it.
That's awesome.
And you know what? When you decide to do it, the word decision comes from a Latin word where the root comes from to cut off from. So literally, make the decision to cut off the other options. Throw away your fat clothes, if we're talking about weight. Throw away your fat clothes. Throw away your fat food. Throw away whatever you need to throw away. Get rid of whatever you need to get rid of. When you have a goal, tunnel vision the fuck out of that goal. And then get there. Or at least, you know what? Get far enough down that road that you're committed or that you start to see results, because that's when momentum takes over. And I think no matter what the goal is, if it's mental health, if it's a work thing, if it's a diet thing, if it's a weight loss thing, if it's a weight gain thing, whatever it is, the thing that the key is that the first few steps, because once you start to see results, then I think you start to get momentum. And once you get momentum, you can kind of lean on that momentum, and then that kind of keeps you going. But also enlist the help of your friends, because without friends, without people, none of this shit's going to work, no matter what it is.
I think you're wrong, Tim. I think you are an expert on that, man, because honestly, you're very, very empowering. You obviously lived through it. I know that JB and I kind of looked at you as kind of a source of inspiration, but also just that we knew that you were so confident in what you wanted to do, and you were so self-directed that we couldn't question you. We couldn't stop you. You were freight train at that point,
Yeah, but the minute that it's cool if you guys call me an expert, if you guys, want me to
You're an
give
expert
my
in your own
opinion.
thoughts and feelings, I'll tell
The
you.
minute that I see myself as an expert, I'm the same fucking asshole that I hear on podcasts that I just don't fucking like. Let's
He's
be
the
honest.
expert.
I'm such an expert.
I'm the charlatan.
Oh my God, I've done
And
so much
James
cool
joke
shit.
man.
Why don't you be like me? Because
Hey.
I'm the cream of the crop. I'm the bee's knees. I'm the...
And Chile, you got a base.
Bee sneeze.
The bee's
Do bees
knees?
even have fuck bees, dude?
Wow.
Whatever. Anyways,
But I'm not cool.
But I'm not cool.
Shyamalan
Yeah,
the
you
ding
are.
dong.
I'm Dewey Finn.
So you know what, Kelsey? You do you. You fucking put on that oxygen mask while that plane's going down. And then you worry about other people.
That's right. She put the little emoji face with the little kissy symbol at the end of it. Damn, I think she might have gotten touched by you, and your message.
Hey, I did not touch.
Pretty sure touched.
I did not touch anyone inappropriately.
No, but I'm sure she was
the
pretty
record.
touched by your message. So honestly, for anyone that's
All
listening,
I'm saying is, you know what, Kelsey, you matter. Everyone out there, you matter. Take care of you. Because then you're going to, and if maybe you don't care about taking care of other people, and that may be fine. Now, if you're a parent and that's how you feel, then you're kind of an asshole. But whether you want to take care of other people or not, take care of you first. Make you the best version of you, and do what you need to do to make that happen.
all right.
Because then and only then are you better equipped to take better care of other people. Because when you're operating at 60% of your capacity, you are shitty to yourself and everyone else.
I'm telling you, I don't think we covered nearly enough or nearly as many questions as I could have asked you or nearly as much in depth as we could have gone in that 40-minute record, dude, honestly. And I think that, there's so much more information that you have. So many more words of wisdom that you could kind of provide.
Well, Steve, we got
You're tough, man.
B-sides for days, brother.
I know, that's true. You're tough, man. You got some toughness to you. You got some grit. You got some. Yeah, that's right.
Like true grit
Speaking
or like
of-
false grit? Like,
Well, I was gonna say because this matcha looks real gritty when it's in the package.
it
but
is a
when
little
you
bit
put-
gritty. That's so funny because I was totally thinking about going through that same segue.
Yeah, and then you know, we're talking a little bit about the nitty gritty, you know,
the nitty gritty.
and so I was like, damn, bro.
I believe I used the phrase nitty gritty in the show show notes for the last episode.
There you go.
I said Steven interviews Tim and covers
Gets down to the nitty-gritty.
pulls no punches and covers all the nitty gritty of Tim's adventures through weight loss and shedding his fat skin.
Man, golly. And then on Netflix, there's that show. Yeah, there's that movie, The True Grit. Man, I'm telling you.
Pretty sure that was a remake.
Was it? I don't know.
It was.
Yeah.
I never know.
Eye Patch.
never
I haven't
know.
seen either of them.
I never know.
Rooster Cogburn.
So, I mean, I don't know, dude. I'd say the good news is, Steve, you opened up a thing.
A can of horrors.
I've got some good
Oh, JB, I totally wasn't meaning to do that, but
news. Yes, you
yeah,
were.
it was.
It was like a little softball. It was like you put it up on the tee.
It was a transparent softball.
And
what can I say?
and I hit underneath, so I actually hit the tee on that one. But so in the grand scheme of grit, 100 grit sandpaper, this man, Ron Roberts, was shocked and distressed over his Alzheimer's diagnosis. But instead of letting the disease get the better of him, it has inspired a brand new chapter of his life. As a means of keeping his mind sharp, the 81-year-old started taking classes at King's University College in London, Ontario. Enrolling in the school has not only helped the Canadian senior stay engaged, but it is also helping to inspire his fellow dementia patients and raise awareness for what it's like to live with a disease. Too many people that get diagnosed with something like Alzheimer's and they think somehow it's the end. He told the CTV News, well, it's not an end. It's just a new beginning. It's something you've got to work at. And actually, it's a good thing because I was getting quite bored being retired. So this is a new challenge for me. So I was like, I ran across that and I was like, that takes some frijoles, some balls. I mean, it's a smart move, you know, when your brain starts deteriorating. You're like, well, I may as well exercise the good parts.
No, well, I will tell you that Alzheimer is one of those son of a gun diseases where it takes everything from you, and especially your memory. So even if you do have good parts, sometimes you kind of forget that they're there and they become underutilized. But or eventually they'll become underutilized. But while you have it, and while you can, you should definitely kind of give it and put it on display. You know, yeah, it's a very, very gritty. It's very, very tenacious. It's very, very kind of giving, even in the face of adversity like that on that stage and scale. So I'm definitely impressed. I mean, honestly, how can you go against somebody who knows they have some kind of, I don't know, deterioration, some mental deterioration that will eventually become terminal on some level? And, you know, what can you do? What can you do?
Well, Steve, we're all terminal at some level.
Sure. That's a good point. We definitely are very, very all terminal on some level.
Don't take life too seriously. You'll never make it
Like,
out alive.
Thanks,
Write
Van
it down.
Wilder.
Yep.
Great fucking quote.
They just added that to the Netflix. The Netflix. What am I? My dad.
the Netflix on the web.
On the
which is on the internet. All right. So grit. How do we define grit? Grit is small loose particles of stone or sand. Kidding. That is one definition of grit. That's probably the one that people think of the most when you're like walking around on the beach with your shoes on like a
Yes.
stew. But the one that we're talking about is courage and resolve, strength of character.
Strength of colon character.
Strength of character. Intestinal fortitude.
Ooh, you know what? That does work. Colon character. Intestinal fortitude. Intestinal fortitude and grit are very much one and the same.
Yeah.
And if you swallow enough sand, your poo will have grit in it.
Also true.
That's also true.
Mm-hmm. And if you roll in sand, then the grit will be like sandpaper. I don't know.
Like those
So
hippopotamuses.
I'm not gonna lie. Tim helped me out with this topic because I feel like I have early onset Alzheimer's at some points in being
I think you're
deprived,
just tired.
sleep deprived. So,
Dude, I literally, we were talking about finding a topic. I'm going to go way too personal on this. And you know what? Y'all, whatever. It is what it is.
Let's do it.
JB and I were talking about a topic. And JB was like, I don't know what to pick. And I was like, well, I don't fucking know either. Like, we could pick a person. You could pick a quote. You could pick a saying. You could pick a speech. You could pick a movie. Or, hold on, I have an idea. You could pick a topic that we could also integrate movies, actors, characters, people, blah, 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 that kind of fit into that. And then we can also kind of integrate some of our own experiences. And that kind of works in some of the stuff we've been doing, with some of the stuff that Steve wants to do.
That's right.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. But I was like, but as far as like what that topic, I have no ideas. But hold on, JB. I need to let you go because I got to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. In my bathroom, there's a Men's Health. In that Men's Health, by the way, John Bernthal on the cover. John Bernthal is totally a Project Reclamation hero. One of my favorite people. We'll have to do an episode about him eventually. John Bernthal is amazing. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. He's a great dude.
I don't know.
Although he plays mostly assholes, so it is what it is. That being said, in that same magazine, there was a whole article on grit. So I'm kind of reading it over. I'm like, well, this is interesting. Call JB back. I was like, you know what? Pay attention and you will see things. Ask and you will receive. Grit is our topic, if you so receive. And he was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So that's how we came across grit. So I didn't really help. I just sort of went to the bathroom. That's all I did.
that helped.
Sometimes.
How'd everything come out, by the way?
It was shitty help.
Literally.
But I think grit's an awesome. I think so much of what we talk about. I don't know that we use the word grit very often, but I think so much of what we talk about, the people that we talk about, what we look for in our inspirational characters, our role models, each other, the things that we're proud of, the things that we would like to do. I think so much of it kind of comes back to grit.
Yeah.
Well, grit's like the unpolished side of what we talk about.
Honestly, grit is
pun intended.
Grit is like unpolished fortitude, and we're kind of unpolished, and we're kind of always striving to increase our fortitude. So,
here's the thing. Here's an analogy. So you have a project that you're working on that's made of wood.
Is it like a reclamation project?
Go on.
It is. So you need to use something that is gritty to sand down to a beautiful, beautiful finished product. So that's kind of how I looked at grit. I
never thought of it this way.
I'm trying to get to a smooth, finished product. I need something gritty. I need some grit to wear down the negativity, the stuff that needs to go away.
I love it.
And
I love it.
Yeah.
And one of the analogies that I often like to use when I'm talking to friends or whatever, when hardship or something difficult is kind of looming in front of them or they're in the middle of it, one of my favorite analogies is like it takes an abrasive surface to polish a diamond.
It's true. You have to have a harder
and that's kind
stone.
of right in line with yours. It's like, dude, it takes...
Iron sharpens iron.
Grit is grit. And when I think of grit, I think of, John Wayne. I think of Clark Beckstead. I think of, Clint Eastwood and like just cowboys in general. But at the same time, like it's that grit. It takes grit to make... I don't think of polished people as grit or grit as polish, but it takes grit to polish. I have just reached a whole new level of enlightenment right now.
That was totally meta, bro.
So meta.
I don't even know what meta means.
I don't know either.
I just say it when it sounds like something was profound.
I like saying it like this kind of like, oh my God, so meta, bro. That's my tone. That's my meta.
The hipster challenge.
I just put on my infinity scarf.
That's my esoteric meta tone.
Welcome to the hipster hour here.
Whoa, esoteric metatone? Is that what you just said?
That's what I said, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what that means.
It's just basically a metronome from Star Trek.
Classic.
Oh, got it. Rotator splint.
What? Dude, I don't know.
Man.
So grit. So grit, when does one utilize grit? Usually after trying and failing. Would you guys say that that's an accurate assessment? When
I think
you need grit to have perseverance. Grit is a part of perseverance.
I think when trying and failing, grit. That's where grit comes in. When trying and failing, after failing again and again and again, the more failure, the more grit. I think another place where grit maybe comes in is when facing an impossible task or an unbeatable enemy. Enemy could be extremely metaphorical, by the way. When David goes to face Goliath and whatever, fuck all the details of that whole story, but that takes grit to just walk into a fight where you're like, there's a 90% chance I'm going to get my ass beat. But you know what? Like, dude, go watch the show Banshee. Every fucking scene that dude, the main character, walks into requires some grit.
I don't think I've seen that show.
If you haven't seen Banshee, that's just badass. If you don't like violence, then don't watch it.
Is that Banshee from the comic book character Banshee, the one that would scream out loud and that would be his thing?
No, it's not it's just it's a Cinemax show, whatever.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into it, but it is what it is. But he's a very gritty individual.
Ooh, I like it. All I'm going to
He walks into a lot of lose, or maybe not lose situations.
Banshee, showtime.
I think it's Cinemax.
What celebrities would you guys? Maybe not celebrities, but people who of note would you think have grit?
Teddy Roosevelt had some grit.
I don't know him like I should.
Give me an example.
Well, he was just one of the cavalry guys from the American, sort of.
Is this because you watched The Night at the Museum?
Probably, dude.
Played by Robin Williams.
I just know that dude. Teddy was he was in a group, dude. I'm
like a posse here.
I'm historically intelligent on some levels and just historically stupid on other levels. I don't know all the details, but yeah, he was in a posse where they just went and they just rough shit up, and that was back in the Manifest Destiny. Let's move west. Shit was crazy back then. But he was a guy who he also just he went and did a bunch of crazy big game hunting, and he was just a good old boy.
No, for sure. I'm trying to think about in my immediate world who hunkers down when things are tough. Now, obviously, you can
Hugh
say
Jackman.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. He's an actor. I don't know. I mean, yeah,
you don't know anything. You don't know a lot about. He doesn't broadcast.
He's an Australian guy.
He doesn't but he's a family man. He's a good husband, a good dad, from what I know. But he doesn't broadcast that stuff. He just broadcasts literally the roles that he plays, and he wants to play them. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, for sure. I'm just trying to think about there's just there's certainly an amount of grit that takes place, or tenacity. That he has to do to pursue his, roles and stuff, or even to come over here from Australia and stuff like that. I totally get that.
Obviously, John Wayne had some grit.
Sure.
Despite the fact that he was in the original True Grit movie.
I'm trying to think of, there's real people that, face everyday kind of battles, too. And you may think...
Well, okay, so in researching this and,
thank you.
Trying to figure out who... I did not really research this. This is like a Google search 10 minutes ago, but... So that came up with a list of people who famously were successwent after their first try or many tries. And the first on the list is Henry Ford. And what I didn't realize is that this dude had he went bankrupt 5 times before he ended up starting Ford Motor Company. Think about that.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever tried to start a business, it's difficult. It was probably a little easier back then because regulations were a little different, yada, 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 whatever.
Well, the government wasn't trying to stick their metaphorically gloved hand up your ass, but yeah.
Going bankrupt 5 times and not sulking into a gin joint somewhere and putting a bottle down your throat. No, he had some tenacity. He had some grit. And then it ended up, people think, oh, it's an overnight success. They don't care to, hear the story behind it. A lot of the time, It's oh, okay. Well, you're the Ford Motor Company. That's one of the biggest, car companies on the planet.
Well, and
the dude went bankrupt 5 times.
Not to mention, Ford Motor Company, amazing. But he also invented the fucking assembly line, or he at least brought it to light in manufacturing.
Yeah. He
So he not only invented Ford, but he changed
the manufacturing,
auto assembly for sure, but manufacturing in general, pretty much. Period. So yeah, dude, that's awesome. In the face of lots of failures.
Yeah, but obviously he probably picked that up along the way. I don't know what he ever tried to invent before.
Well, and you know who else I think has a lot of grit, and this is just sort of a broad brush, but like artists.
Sure.
One comes to mind, actually, like a painter like Vincent Van Gogh. He was.
I don't really know enough.
I was reading about him that like he often lived in poverty. You know, he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia, and he just painted constantly. You know, it's like that's what you do. You know, when you're like, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to feed myself, but I'm just going to keep doing this because hopefully it'll come along. And you know, he probably, you know,
let's be real,
wasn't famous until after his death, but
I think that's kind of the plight of most artists.
That's a grit filled life, is like, you know, just keeping going, just grinding it out.
Anybody that we talk about on this podcast has made it to some level where all three of us have heard of it, and maybe anyone that's listening to this podcast has heard of them. They didn't come about. It's not like you just showed up one day and all of a sudden we go, oh, look, there's Jane Doe. Wow, so cool. She did this and she did that. She only had to do things once, and then that's how she got known. Now, if she did that once, or if he did that once, and they got known, more than likely, we would not look at them as I don't know, masters of inspiration or sources of inspiration, but rather just one-hit wonders. And anybody that we talk about,
nobody we talk about is a one-hit.
Nobody we talk about is a one-hit wonder. Everybody
applaud.
We applaud their stick-to-itiveness and their ability to kind of tough the times and still keep on persevering with their dream, their vision, their sole goal, and whether it be in their life or whether it be in that moment. And so anybody that we talk about right now, whether it be Vincent Van Gogh or Henry Ford or any John Wayne kind of esque character or actor, I mean, that's what we're doing here, is that we're literally telling you about people that have They got to a sense of or level of notoriety because they just hung it out. They toughed it out. They toughed out the bad times to just kind of develop themselves and develop their name or their brand or whatever it is that they're trying to kind of, their vision was. And whether or not we ever acknowledged them, whether or not we ever cared about them, I'm sure some of them would care, but I think they would still have done whatever they would have done. They would have gone after their initial or intended goal, no matter what, at length's end to kind of see their vision come true. And that's a lot of it about the I guess the true base of what we're talking about here is that will you stick it out? Will you hang it out? Will you tough it out? Oh, that's your definition of just kind of being gritty.
I think a lot of grit comes back to toughing it out for what you believe in too.
So true.
I mean, like I said, like we've, maybe our favorite dinosaur is the Saurus.
The Saurus. He knows some.
The Saurus. I'm just saying, we've covered the people we cover, everything about people we've covered comes back. Like, I don't know, like Jocko Willink, does he have grit? Fuck yeah. David Goggins, grit? Yeah. Vujicic? Yeah.
Yeah.
Galloway? Yeah. Does The Rock have grit? Yeah, dude. I mean, we highlight whether we've said it directly or not. I mean, grit is what we highlight on this podcast. Like, grit is, it's just, to me, if I were to not define it Websterly, but more frickly, it's just that
notice how he sticks to it, though.
That fortitude. I think grit and fortitude are kind of, they're very linked, but just that drive that keeps you focused, keeps you going, keeps you fucking energized, bunnied to do whatever the fuck you're trying to do. And someone like Goggins, like, dude, Goggins is grit like a motherfucker. Like, dude, I mean, we talk about, Joe Rogan's got grit because he has just literally changed podcasting. I mean, part of like why we're able to do what we're doing is like has to do with Joe Rogan, like with podcasts. I mean, there's just people. We got Keanu Reeves. Dude's got grit because no matter how famous he's gotten, like he sticks to his roots. Someone like John Bernthal has grit because no matter, like, he never gives into his fame. He's not the guy over there like giving some waiter shit because his water's not sparkling enough. Like, he's the guy who's like trying to do what he's got to do to make the most of his acting career, but then not be late for his kid's soccer game. Like, that's fucking grit, dude. You stick to what means something to you. And I think that's grit. But that's just me. I don't know.
No, it's a reasonable assessment of grit there.
I truly enjoy it.
But JB, I know you have some more stuff about grit.
Sure.
He's like, I am examining it now.
I'm sure, Tim. I just have to keep Googling whatever I'm Googling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, grit in psychology is a positive cognitive trait based on an individual's perseverance of effort. Goodbye. I have derailed. Nope, that's about all I got.
That's it. I think Grit's amazing. I've never seen the movie True Grit, but I gotta say, if we're talking about,
you should see True Grit.
You know what? Now I'm going to. I'm gonna have to go.
You know who really has True Grit in that movie is the little girl. You would think that Rooster Cogburn, being the old boozy,
is that the character that John Wayne plays, edges. And then what's his name? Jeff Bridges plays.
You would think that he has the grit, but no, the little girl does because she's avenging her family's father's death.
Dude, that's badass.
Have I seen
I think
this
it's her father's
before?
death.
This movie sounds so...
And she's like 13.
Yeah,
She's like, you know what,
Grit?
Mister, I'm gonna go find the person who's doing this. Yada yada yada, and yeah.
So
she's just going after it.
In this article that JB and I read from Men's Health, it's in the latest episode. John Bernthal's on the cover. Did I mention John Bernthal has grit like a motherfucker? Also, Frank Castle, the character that he plays on the Netflix show The Punisher, which season 2 I think airs in a few days. That guy has grit, but John Bernthal just has grit. He's just a good dude, But, I had a place to go with this. Now I totally forgot what the fuck I was talking about.
Well, maybe it was your love of Bernthal. And
my love of Bernthal derailed me.
Can't
help
it. Well, regardless.
Grit is grit. However, I don't know that I know how to prepare grits.
Grits are apparently...
grits are overrated unless there's like, a half pound of cheese in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like
delicious
it's
seasoning.
like I could put a bunch of butter and cheese and garlic in there, but then like
you're just eating.
Why not just eat mashed potatoes? Because that's kind of what I'm going for.
Well, why not grind them up a little more and make cornbread?
Cornbread.
It's just like...
Or polenta.
It's like it's not corn. Yeah, it's not corn.
I'm confused. I don't get it.
It's like corn that the grinder broke, and they're like, "Oh, let's boil this and turn it into grits."
Like to me, like it's not like breakfast. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I ate cream of wheat, but I feel like if I want some breakfasty kind of grit kind of shit, cream of wheat or oatmeal. Or mashed potatoes. Why the fuck do I eat grits? Because it's like somewhere in between. I just don't know if it's like a breakfast food or not a breakfast food.
I feel like grits would have been like what you ate on like a wagon train. Because it's like, oh, we got corn. Let's mash it up in a mortar and pestle and put some.
You know, two people who had grit, Lewis and Clark. Those guys had some grit.
All right.
Well, dude, they were like, hey, go explore. First of all, go check out this whole Louisiana Purchase shit that we just made because we spent some money on it. Not really sure if it's going to pan out or not. I don't know what we got
in this deal.
But if you look at
kick the tires, please.
If you look at the manifest for what they brought with them, it's fucking ridiculous.
It's like an axe.
I can't. I'm just making shit up, but it's like fucking this many pounds of fucking coffee, this many fucking gallons of whiskey, this many like pounds of flour, this many pounds of corn, like. It was ridiculous how much shit they brought with them.
Oh.
Like, ridiculous. But the fact that these guys were like, hey, well, sure, we'll go explore this new land.
Yeah.
Oh, there's going to be people trying to scalp us? That's cool, too. We'll go do that.
I don't know.
We're just going to get all hopped up on whiskey and go.
They did bring up, dude, I'm saying go Google the manifest. It may be, if I'm not too lazy, I'll find it and I'll post a link on our show notes. It just depends on how much time I have when I post this, but whatever, it's all good. Yeah, Lewis and Clark, very interesting story.
I don't think I've ever even had an interest to look at what their manifest was. Their writer.
I was just literally listening to, I think, a Sofa King episode about the Lewis and Clark, and they were just talking. I don't know. They had some of their, about their manifest of all the supplies that they brought with them, and they still ran out. Don't we?
What did they have? What did they just bring it on 2 donkeys or something like that?
No, I mean I'm sure they had oxen, but. Part of their whole deal was they were trying to find as many water passages as possible. So they had a lot of boats that I think they either dragged or carried, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they had to drag them.
They had to drag them.
Yeah, it was...
Oh,
So they were just dragging these boats.
Excuse me, the Native Americans were all sitting there watching them, going like, "Oh, look at these dumbasses."
So, well, that's true, but if we're gonna talk, if I'm gonna say Lewis and Clark had grit, then I have to say, dude, Sacagawea, that chick had more grit than any of the fucking men in that whole story. I mean, she was pregnant.
Was she pregnant?
Yeah. Well, she had her baby at some point, but yeah, at the beginning she was pregnant. Like there was a pregnant chick. Helping, like they only survived that whole journey because of her. So like she had the wherewithal, the inclination to help them through all this crazy shit and teach them shit while she's goddamn pregnant. Like that was a badass bitch. I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, she has more grit than the rest of all Lewis and Clark and everyone else in that wagon party combined.
You know, she is featured on our $1 coin with a little baby. So I guess that would be that baby that we're talking about.
That was exactly. Dude, how badass is that baby, by the way? That baby was born in like the gnarliest conditions ever.
I mean, if you think about it, if that baby survived then, it would have survived no matter what.
Well, yeah, and I think credit goes to the baby and also the mom.
No doubt. Shout out to you, baby Julia.
So grit. There's so many different stories. Grit is everywhere around us. But JB, there's got to be times when you need to summon some grit. How do you do that? What do you do when you need some grit?
What do I do to summon grit? I don't know. I kind of just go to like my bare bones minimum state of mind and be like, well, here's the deal. This is an impossible situation, so I could either give up or keep going. And typically, you don't want to give up. I mean, maybe some people do, and that's fine. But it's kind of it's a very binary question you're asking yourself. Like, well, go backwards or move forwards.
Wouldn't giving up be easier sometimes?
Well, yeah, but you've got to move forward.
Oh.
I guess you don't have to.
So even if you're not like Lewis or Clark or Goggins or Willink or whatever, we all have grit. We can dig in and find it, right? Everyday grit.
Everyday grit.
Yeah. Maybe you're a school teacher. Maybe you're an ER nurse. You got some grit. You can find it. Steve.
Yo.
How do you find your grit?
To be honest with you just, when times get tough, I always know that tough times don't last, and I just kind of hang out there, and I hang in there, I just kind of look back on my past experiences of me toughening things out, and I also think back on the things that I've maybe like quit a little too early, and how if I just held out a little longer, I could have tolerated it just enough to get on top of it and be successful over it. That's how sometimes I think now, and the older I get, the more I realize that like if you just tough things out for a little while longer, things will get better, and at least or your idea or your position on that tough situation will change. So you just kind of got to tough it out a little bit, and you just kind of hang in there a little bit longer than what you think. And when it's just about to kind of go sour or south or bad, that's when I feel like things start changing around. When you just can't take it anymore and you're about to lose it, that's when I feel like things start to kind of head back the other direction and start to going back in your favor, because it's not going to win over you, and that's something that you have to decide.
Just always take one more step.
Yeah, or you have to decide like whether or not like this is the thing that's going to break your will, break your spirit, or defeat you at that time and moment. You don't have to be defeated forever. You don't have to like look at it and be like, oh, I was crushed. Oh my gosh, work won today, or work always wins. No, I mean, work can win, but overall they can win the battle, but not win the war. And I hate using those kind of terms because I know that's not a thing like what people actually really do go to war. But it's just, you're just going to have to like look at it and say like, is this the thing that's going to defeat me? Or is this the thing that's going to bother me so much so that it's going to take me down and break my spirit today or for days after or for weeks after on end? And, I just don't think it will. And I think the reason how I came to that conclusion is you lost a little bit, you lost some battles before, and you go, oh man, that's the thing that brought me down at that moment. When you kind of look back on things and things are always so 2020, and you're like, wow, oh man, I can't believe that's what I I learned never to next time I'll learn never to let something like that take me down. And that's how it is. Just constantly improving upon it, constantly getting better. And I feel like that's what kind of arms you. But you do have to have that kind of experience. You do have to have that library of kind of shortcomings, You do have to have that library of kind of tough times there. Good or bad, whatever the result was. Yeah, you just have to have that library of it to kind of, or you'd have to have that Rolodex of it to kind of bank off of and say, oh, that's what happened then, and I definitely don't want that to happen ever again.
I think it's interesting because I think when the chips are like super down or shit's against the wall or you have 30 days to find 10 grand that you don't have because otherwise, whatever, your car or house gets taken away. Like we have an innate ability to really, really make shit happen when our backs are against a wall. But sometimes we just don't until that point. And it's kind of like that whole like waiting to study for a final until the night before, then pulling an all-nighter and then pulling it off. You're like, yeah, that's great. I pull it off. But it's like...
We don't recommend
I think that... No, I don't either. And I don't recommend... Well, I guess what I'm saying is like if there's a way we could tap into that shit, that grit that we can like summon when our back is really against the wall, when it's not quite to that point, I feel like that'd be kind of magical.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this. I'm just sort of spitballing, thinking out loud here.
I've always thought this.
Does that make sense? I mean...
Yeah, of course it makes sense because I've always thought this sometimes too when you don't have any kind of pressure under you and if you're listening out there and you're like, yeah, every day is every day. Ooh, work, same day, same shit, different day. You really can think about 10 million different things, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But when S hits the fan and then all of a sudden around you, let's just say chaos is breaking out or you're in some kind of nasty situation and you can probably imagine the worst thing that you could be put in or, natural disasters upon your tail and you're like, oh, man, things get really clear as to what you need to do. Things get really, really clear as to what you want to take with you or keep with you. At least I would feel that way and I still do feel that way when stuff goes, when S hits the fan at work and I'm like, oh, crap. I don't think about, I need to do this for this guy. I need to do that for this guy. I just go, oh, no, I need to do these 3 things right now. Those take precedent and priority over everything else. And so that's how it is, It's like, okay.
I think some of it has to do with kind of like the dangers of comfort and complacency.
All right, yeah.
Now, I think complacency is a bad thing. I don't think comfort's necessarily a bad thing. And I'm not saying we should fight it, but at the same time, I feel like, and I don't mean to bring it always back to like whatever, but like there's something magical about like Goggins because like I guess he never maybe had the chance to be complacent or comfortable, and maybe that's why he's succeeded the way he has. But I feel like in all of us, like kind of on the surface of complacency and comfort, maybe just one level below that, we always kind of need to be digging a little bit because we can make shit happen when we really need to. But maybe we don't really tap into that until we really need to. But maybe if we could really kind of reach some new heights. Again, just me thinking out loud. Super meta, JB.
Totally. Metamorphosizing.
Yeah, I'm totally just a chrysalis turning into a butterfly, or probably a moth because I'm not pretty enough to be a butterfly.
You're a crystal meth turning into a.
I'm a crystal
motherfly.
I'm a crystal meth moth. Yeah, it's true.
Meth. Yeah.
So yeah, I do have an interesting. I have another interesting example of grit. I would maybe call him a real life hero. Anyone? Yes. Okay.
Go. Who is?
Are we supposed to guess?
No. You were just saying, "Oh, Tim's hero." All right, great. Yeah. Anyways,
well, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt. I just want to hear what you
I don't really want anything about. But all right, this Tommy McPherson, the Scotsman, escaped from a Nazi prisoner war camp in 1943 after almost 2 years of hellish incarceration. He was soon recaptured by the Gestapo, but he escaped again. After making his way back to Scotland, he immediately re-enlisted and joined a commando unit that parachuted in behind enemy lines. He became a leader of the French resistance, culminating a brazen bluff that saw him convince 23,000 Nazi soldiers to surrender by falsely claiming the RAF would otherwise be called in to wipe them out from the air. Without doubt, Tommy had pitted himself against some of the most ruthless and violent men of the modern era. That he came out on top is a testament to his remarkable persistence, his refusal to bow down in the face of superior numbers and firepower. Above all, Tommy McPherson showed an almost superhuman amount of sheer, old-fashioned bottle, and to me, he embodies everything that is best about the courageous men and women who fought for our liberty during the Second World War. And, as Tim Frick, I would add, he showed an enormous amount of grit. That's it.
Gritty,
That's
bang, bang.
Gritty bang bang.
So yeah, that's my hero of the show. Hero of the day, real life hero.
I think that's a good hero, man.
I like it. I was impressed.
Anything having to do with escape from Nazis.
And I like the fact that he just used some good old-fashioned... Being a salesperson, he used some good old-fashioned bullshit to trick 23,000 Nazis into surrendering. I mean, that's kind of badass. That's like... I was going to say that's Sales 101, but that's not Sales 101. That's like Sales 501 or whatever the like advanced course is.
Kind of makes you question the whole Nazi movement, like how invested they were in it in the first place. Like... This is pretty stupid.
You're like, Nazis all the way. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait. Am I just doing this because I'm fearing retribution?
I just kind of liked his mustache, but
this is pretty stupid.
Yeah. So, anyways, go. You know what, Tommy McPherson, you're a hero.
Classic. Wait, Tommy McPherson was a Nazi hunt?
He was an Irish dude who got captured by the Nazis.
I was gonna say that doesn't sound like
you weren't listening to anything I just said.
No, there's so many interchangeable parts.
He does know who just posted on his Facebook page. That's for sure.
Steve, your beautiful hair is not always going to get you by in life. Sometimes you're going to have to pay attention.
It's covering my ears now, boys. What am I gonna do? But you know what? I do want you guys to shed your ears on this beautiful.
What are you going to do? You're going to Kyoto do.
What am I gonna do?
Kyoto.
I'm gonna Kyoto do you guys a favor.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up. We're at an hour. What do we got? Final thoughts on grit?
I got a final quote on being gritty. Okay, y'all. It's by Hannibal. I shall either find a way or make one. Okay, let that sink into you. Okay, let that hammer home.
That's some grit right there, dude.
Wow.
And Hannibal, dude, he was one that rode elephants into war, wasn't he?
You'll never give up. So you either see your dream.
Is that like Hannibal the Cannibal?
No. Like Hannibal, the like old school war hero, who the main character, kind of the main character from the A-Team was named after. His nickname Hannibal.
You mean like Anthony Hopkins from?
That's Hannibal.
What's it called?
It was what's his name? Fucking Taken. Liam Neeson was Hannibal in the movie
Taken.
I don't remember the actor that played Hannibal in the series, but
I don't know the actor either.
But yes, the character Hannibal in the A-Team, his nickname Hannibal came from Hannibal, the leader of some fucking... I think he had elephants. Pretty sure he had elephants. I'm just going to say elephants.
Well, any good war hero should have elephants.
I mean, every good war hero. every good hero should have elephants.
Especially if you...
I heard The Rock has some elephants. I'm sure David Goggins has elephants. And I bet you Jocko Willink has elephants. John Bernthal just has pit bulls that are dressed like elephants sometimes. He's understated. He doesn't want to be flashy.
Classic. Elephant.
Well, that's pretty much all I got.
That's all I got. Y'all. I have depleted the tanks.
My tank is also depleted.
I'm running on empty.
But all I'm saying is...
I've left it all on the field.
Grit is very much a catch-all, too. I think a lot of the stuff that we talk about. And I think if you were to boil all of our favorite things, people, subjects, whatever, down to... a few things, grit would be one of them, for sure.
All right.
So go find your grit. Go put butter and cheese in your grit, and then enjoy it with some bacon, some maple bacon from Aldi.
So if you guys were to have to be a sandpaper, which grit number would you be?
95 all the way. Fine.
95. What about you, Tim?
I would be 600.
Ooh.
See, I like 200.
I like 600 because that just makes it fucking shiny.
Wait, I thought it went the other way.
I don't know, man. I feel like I've been using 60 for the last year. So
no, the grit number is like parts per inch.
Oh, I know.
The
less the number, the way harsher it is. Like 60 grit is gonna take it's gonna take everything off the wood. That like 600 is just gonna polish it to a fine shine.
Shout out to you, 3M Sandpaper.
Yeah, shout out to you, Sherwin-Williams Sandpaper.
Everyone's got their own
whatever, too.
DeWalt Sandpaper. You guys got something good going on there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Thank y'all.
All right, y'all. Be good.
Yeah. Till we meet again soon. Peace out.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Well, take care, man. Gotta get back.
Sure. Take it easy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you will.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that. It's good knowing he's out there, the dude, taking her easy for all us sinners. Shush. I sure hope he makes the finals. Well, that about does her. Wraps her all up. Things seem to have worked out pretty good for the dude and Walter. And it was a pretty good story, don't you think? Made me laugh to beat the band. Parts, anyway. I didn't like seeing Donnie go. But then I happen to know that there's a little Lebowski on the way. I guess that's the way the whole darned human comedy keeps perpetuating itself. Down through the generations. Westward the wagons. Across the sands of time until we... Oh, look at me. I'm rambling again. Well, I hope you folks enjoyed yourselves. Catch you later on down the trail. Say, friend, you got any more of that good sarsaparilla?